Database migration is a fact of life in cloud computing, and to explain the best and easiest ways to do this, Laurent Bugnion is here to rescue you. A senior cloud advocate with Microsoft, Laurent knows the ins and outs of how your data can go from on-premises to the cloud, from development to production, and from unmanaged to managed, or using Azure Database Migration services, and all delivered with a delightfully French accent. So we're here at Ignite, and you did a session. The day before yesterday.
Yesterday, in fact. Yeah.
It was yesterday.
Yep.
Was it database migration?
Yes, it was. So we have those so-called learning paths that we prepared, where each learning path has 5 sessions. Mm-hmm. And a learning path is, sessions are not specifically like super related to each other, but they tell a story. And we always use the same application to go there. So there is also some branding. It's the Tailwind Traders application, which in the meantime is starting to become famous. Yeah. Whereas, the story is that, Tailwind Traders acquired Northwind. And so Northwind is a big data store and of course, very traditional. I used to joke and say that, the servers literally run under the CEO's desk, right? So not in the cloud at all. And Tailwind Traders wants to put everything in the cloud. Mm-hmm. They want to modernize their application, really. And so the session I presented and the one that I prepared the most was around moving your database to the cloud. And so the idea there is that this application, it's a web app service with ASP.NET Core and React.js for the front end. That is taken care of, but then on premises we still have a MongoDB database running on Linux. For the shopping cart. So it's a NoSQL solution, which is, of course, great for this kind of applications, shopping cart, these kind of things. It's very fast also, etc. And then we have the product description, which is in a classic SQL. But since, Northwind is an old-fashioned firm, so to prepare the session, I literally took the oldest version of Windows Server I could still find, which is 2012. I was hoping to go to 2008, but we unfortunately don't run that. So we simulate that those VMs actually run on Azure, of course, but we simulate that they run under the CEO's desk, like I was saying. And then in the course of the session, I show how to use a new service that we launched last year, which is called the Azure Database Migration Service. Okay. And the DMS, in short, is able to migrate between different sources and different targets. So if it's SQL, we can migrate you directly out of AWS, for example, if you want to go to Azure instead, out of Oracle into SQL, for example, or simply out of SQL Server on-premise to Azure SQL Database. Wow. And we also support migrating from MongoDB to Cosmos. The nice thing is that it's very managed. So even if you have terabytes of data, it's going to take time, obviously, but it is going to do it in a managed way. You can even manage the throughput, for example, if you don't want to choke your target server, So it's way more efficient than the backup and restore, which we still support, but we recommend going to a more managed option. As long as the DMS is running, it's going to migrate the data, but then it's going to keep the source and the target synchronized. So you can migrate at your own pace. You can, for example, play a staging environment on your staging website, on your new data to make sure that it's running. Yeah. All these times the data is synchronized. And then when you're done, you switch the connection string, and then only you shut down the DMS because you don't need it anymore. That's right. So that's a really nice solution if you don't want any downtime during your migration. Yeah. If you just want to start with the DMS and you have your own database, create a database migration service at the name of the service. Yep. You just enter the usual, right, subscription name, a region where you want to run that. The only thing that you need to be careful about is that you can create a maximum of 2 DMS instances per subscription and region. But it really literally doesn't matter because since one DMS can have multiple projects, you don't need 2. You just need 1, really, unless it's a special case. Sure. And if you should need 3, then you have to put it in another region. So that would be fine as well, yeah.